there, and welcome into a Water Break Wednesday presented by Crown Royal. I'm Drew Dougherty, along with my good friend Deepi Sidhu, and we are so amped to be with you. Deepi, we're going to take questions from the fans today. We're going to let the folks know about an interesting development on the marketing front for the club as well. But first things first, how are you doing, my friend?
I am great. It's Wednesday. Practice time's jiggled up a little bit, so a little bit of an earlier practice, which is weird because now I want to think it's not Wednesday. We're very regimented this time of year. Everything happens at a certain time. So Water Break Wednesday, a little bit later than normal, but always happy to be here. And I know we got some great news to get to.
Yes, you're a traveler. You go here and there, everywhere around the world. I love to travel. I don't get to travel too much, but when I've gone, I've enjoyed it. And I've loved traveling with the Texans all over the country to the various sites and various cities and franchises, and even more so going to Mexico City in 2016, and then 3 years later to London in 2019. Well, the Texans are probably going to be doing that again in the near future. They're certainly going to do that again in the near future. But today, a very cool announcement. The Texans were awarded an opportunity to market in Mexico, and it's all part of the NFL's International Home Marketing Areas Initiative. So this means they get to, expand their local presence down there, and they'll take players and cheerleaders, legends, Toro down for some special events. They'll have watch parties, just kind of trying to expand that Texans imprint south of the border. And it'll be cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm guessing the next time the Texans do play internationally, it'll be in Mexico City. But it's a big day, and we've always had really cool Spanish language content on the website, and you can go to Los Texans on the social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can also go to HoustonTexans.com and check out En Español. So pretty fun day, DP.
Yeah, and you know what? The Texans do have a huge fan base in Mexico. Mexico City, like we went in 2016, we did a lot of outreach trips and programs. So there'll be a lot more of those, especially in 2022 with this announcement. So more opportunities to market this team, whether it's selling merchandising or doing youth football or different fan events. I think it's really exciting. And across the league, 18 different teams, 8 different countries have an opportunity to market themselves internationally. And I think it's great. I mean, I love the fact that we get to go to London and we get to go to Mexico City. I can't wait to see some of the other countries that the NFL expands to in the near future. But I know you had a lot of fun going to Mexico City and doing some of the stuff that led up to the big game in 2016. And hopefully we get back to some of that again next year, especially with this announcement.
Giddy up. We sure do. And we got folks like Bethany in Houston checking us out today. And we also have Christian, the German Texan, checking us out over there. He's kind of bummed that Germany was not the country that the Texans were linked up with. We'll try to get to Germany as quickly as we can, Christian, but we appreciate your support over there. And we thank you for checking us out, as you do almost every Water Break Wednesday and every pregame show, Texans Unlimited Live. So he's a good, strong Texan fan. But Bethany in Houston has a good question. Who should Davis Mills target more for the final weeks to guarantee victories? Well, it's more than just guys that you target. But I think as long as you include a steady diet of Brandon Cooks in your targets, that's a good thing. Maybe increase the targets to Brevin Jordan and Nico Collins as well. Those guys can make plays. Perhaps a little bit more Chris Conley. There's lots of guys, but I think it should start, obviously, with Brandon Cooks. What say you, DP?
Yeah, I was going to say Brandon Cooks and Brevin Jordan are obviously the two guys. I mean, when you look at the stat sheet, Brandon Cooks had over 100 yards receiving. Brevin Jordan had a touchdown in Sunday's game. It looks like it should have been a win, but, I think really the issue is going to lie in the run game, just to be able to get that going, because that'll really help everything. That'll help the passing game as well. So if they can get the running game off the ground, then I don't think it even matters who you target, as long as you're able to get the ball out of Mills' hands and with no turnovers like he played on Sunday. But I think it's always fun to see Cooks get those hundies, 100-yard receiving games, and it's fun to see the rookies get some touchdowns here in the final stretch.
Jeevan's chiming in, and I don't think it's your Jeevan. You have a son. One of your sons is named Jeevan, Deepi, but
He better be
Jeevan wants to
taking
know.
my Jeevan better be taking finals right now, so it's definitely not him.
Poor Jeevan. Man, I feel for you.
Yeah.
Finals week. Yeah, there's lots of you taking finals. There's probably a few of you that are watching this that are taking breaks from studying or from taking finals, and we thank you for that. We hope we're clearing your mental palate and getting you set for the next test. But Jeevan has this. What are your thoughts on Davis Mills? You saw some good. You saw some areas where he still needs to improve. I think the proverbial book is still out on him. What is he? How high is his ceiling? So he did some nice things. I had a really good question on Dear Drew this week, and it was, why don't the Texans run more no huddle with Davis Mills? And I think it's a valid question because the times he's done it pretty well. Now, you also have to put an asterisk in there because the times he's done it, Texans have been in a weird situation. The last time we think of it most notably, they were down like 30 some points and they peeled off 22 points in about 6.5 minutes or 5.5 minutes against the Rams. It was a weird situation. They yanked a few of their stars and you were able to operate the way you were. But I do think there is something to picking up the pace, going up tempo, and maybe being a little quicker and kind of running the offense that way. I think it's intriguing. And I do think at some point you're going to see a little bit more of it, but that's a great question, Jeevan.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun to watch the team go no huddle and, hurry up and they just quickly get the plays off. I remember Tim Kelly once said, because he was asked this question in a press conference earlier in the year, and he said that while they would love to do that, sometimes it's just not feasible, especially if you got to get the drives going, you got to be able to sustain drives. So if you're not able to convert third downs, it's kind of hard to get into a rhythm where you can go no huddle. And I think offensive linemen, while it's fun to do once in a while or at the end of the half or when the clock is ticking or, you've got to kind of drive that's hit its rhythm. It's not easy for the offensive linemen to go no huddle for like the entire stretch of the game. So it's just not physically feasible. I think there are times when it certainly warrants going no huddle and you hurry up and get the offense down the field. But I think a lot of factors come into play. But that's a great observation. I mean, I agree. I mean, this offense looks probably at its best when it does that. And I think Davis Mills has really flourished in that. But that's sort of keeping the defense on their toes as well. So, you have to be able to get yourself into a rhythm before you're able to do that and do it consistently.
No doubt. German Texan, like we mentioned earlier, has a question. Actually has two. Has a question. His comment is, if you guys ever want to come to Germany, I'll be ready to quit my job to help out. Duly noted. We appreciate that, German Texan. And then he asks, unfortunately, COVID is spreading around the NFL. Everything good within the Texans organization? Knock on wood, everybody's healthy. Everybody's testing negatively. I tested negatively this morning. You did too, because if not, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this.
We would not be here.
Deepi and I test on a weekly basis. So yeah, we're doing okay. From everything we hear, all the players are as well. Everybody's still being safe and being smart. So, COVID's not, knock on wood, it's not hurting Houston right now. Everything's good, right? Deepi?
Yeah. I mean, it was a huge number, like 75 players. The last I checked, I'm sure that's grown since that, of players that tested positive. We saw the Rams players. They played, Monday night, and then they tested. Some of them tested positive as well. The Browns are in dire straits with their head coach and Baker Mayfield, Kevin Stefanski and Mayfield both testing positive. But for the Texans, it was only Kamu Grugier-Hill who tested positive. He was placed on the reserve COVID list on Monday. Otherwise, it's been pretty good. David Culley was asked about it earlier this morning, and the league has enforced some stricter policies on COVID testing and how they go about things. And so the Texans are adhering to that. Whatever the league mandates, that's what the Texans are doing. But so far, they've been really lucky. They've not had this huge outbreak, like Drew says, knock on wood, that we've seen from some of the other teams. So I know there's a mandate that's out there that they want, staff and employees that are tier 1 and tier 2 that cover the team to get their booster shots, to get boosted. So Drew and I fall into that category. They don't mandate it for the players because the players fall under the NFLPA mandate, but most of the players are vaccinated. So that's all you can do, right, Drew? You got to mask up. You got to adhere to the policy guidelines. Today, practice was inside the bubble. We were all wearing masks, even though we're vaccinated. So you just try to do what you can and to limit your exposure and to limit the number of positives. But, if it hits a team, it hits a team. So you're kind of stuck there when that happens. But as far as the Texans go, it looks like so far so good, especially this week.
No doubt. Okay. There's some people out there who, when you're still in season, they get all high and mighty and huffy and puffy when you ask them about the draft. Not me. I don't mind talking about the draft at all. The Texans had been eliminated from the playoffs. So naturally, lots of people turn their attention to the draft. There's nothing at all wrong with that. I don't fault you for wanting to know. So with that in mind, got a couple of draft questions. Parker has this: what draft picks do you expect the Texans to have next year? And Taylor has this: any thoughts on drafting a running back? Sure. I could see him taking a running back. I don't think it'll be with their first pick that they have. But yeah, I could see them draft a running back at some point in 2022. And then as far as the draft picks, listen, the Texans could win out. They could win their last 4 games. They're still going to be picking in the top half of the draft if that's the case. Now, where they are now, they're picking in the top 5. So they're going to have a really, really good pick. That they're going to be in position to take a playmaker, a difference maker, somebody who will be good for your team or any team for that matter. If you listen to John Harris, check out his top 100. He says there's at least about 7 or 8 guys who are bona fide, difference makers. So whoever that is, if it's a cornerback and that's who you got and that's the best guy, cool. If it's a linebacker, an outside linebacker, defensive end, that type of thing, go for it. If it's an interior defensive lineman or somebody on the offensive line, rock and roll. Let's go for it. I think there's not a position that's really off limits for the Texans in this draft. Now, I'd be surprised if they took a running back with their first pick, but I don't know where exactly they're going to pick. I can tell you this, though. They've got their own first, second, and third, and then they have an additional third-round pick coming to you from the Saints in exchange for Bradley Roby. Then they have their 4th, their 6th, as well as 2 more 6th and a 7th. So that's what I know, but we still don't know exactly where in the draft order those picks are going to be, Deepi.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans haven't spent draft on running backs in quite some time. I want to say Deontay Foreman, maybe the last running back drafted, unless I'm missing somebody since then. But I agree with you, Drew. I think that it's probably not going to happen with the first pick. I mean, that's a really high draft pick. I think there are so many positions of need, and you hear like general managers every year say, "Oh, we got to, we'll just pick up, the best available. We're not going after a certain position of need." And I think if any year that was true, it would be this one for the Texans. I mean, they have all positions of need. I mean, they can fill holes with in any position group with any draft pick in any given round. So for them to go best available, yeah, I can see them doing that, because you have guys on both sides of the ball that you need to refill. You got a lot of guys that you signed this offseason to 1-year, 2-year deals. They may not be here this offseason. They may sign somewhere else in free agency, and you're really in a rebuilding mode. So with that being said, I mean, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans draft any position in any given round, but I do think they would take a running back, maybe just not with the first pick. That's just my thought.
Yeah, and a little point of clarification from earlier about COVID. Kamagruja Hill, obviously, he got placed on the COVID list. I was still in the frame of mind like, oh, he's out because of the knee injury. But yeah, he's on the COVID-19 list. So it has affected the Texans. I didn't want to say it didn't, but it did affect the Texans in that way. Otherwise, knock on wood, like we say, Texans doing okay when it comes to COVID. Now listen, Bethany, German Texans, Stephen Conroe, Taylor and Adam and Joe all had awesome questions. We don't have time to get to them right now, but tomorrow I'm going to have those answers in Dear Drew. We had one that just came out today, and then we'll have another one that comes out tomorrow, maybe Friday. But I will answer those questions. Those are real Jacksonville Jaguar related and Jacksonville Jaguar specific questions. Can't do it right now, and for that I apologize, but we're getting squeezed on time. However, I'm going to take my time, write it down, and give you a good answer. Deepi, did you have fun today? I had fun with you.
I did. I hear your outro music too. So, I mean, it's like the Grammys up in here. But yeah, always fun. We'll see you next Wednesday.
It's our outro music, not my outro music.
Our outro music.
It's the team here.
I guess it is. As we continue to talk over it, Tyler Marcotte's probably loving this right now.
And speaking of that team, Tyler Marcotte and Amanda Cappy, they're part of the team that made this happen. So thank you to them for doing it and doing all the good, hard heavy lifting. Good, hard work, heavy lifting. I'll get it out. Anyways, take care. So long. Merry Christmas until next week, and we'll see you in just a bit.